Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rock and Review is honored to have on an award-winning woman in her own right with her businesses and everything she has done to help musicians and artists, and also the wife of the late heavy metal legend, Ronnie James Dio. It is Wendy Dio. Thanks for coming on the Rock and Review, Wendy.
Thank you for inviting me.
You know, it's, I know we bumped into each other in the past, but I got to tell you, what an incredible book that you completed with Rainbow in the Dark, and I know that Ronnie had started this process, before his passing, but then you took it and have completed it and it just came out great.
Well, we wanted it to be written in Ronnie's own words. And so I got together with Mick Wall, a journalist that had known Ronnie very well. And we had a lot of little scribbled notes that Ronnie had left behind. And also we went through different interviews and things. Basically, his mother had collected interviews from all over forever, from the start. So we went back into there and we pulled things out. We wanted it to be in Ronnie's own voice for the rest of the book.
I think you accomplished that so well, because I got to tell you, I learned a number of things. And I thought, obviously talking with some people at the TV station, I'm like going, Casey and I are telling everything about Ronnie and, such a rock legend and one of the biggest names and vocalists in heavy metal. One of the things I really appreciated that you put into the book are the many photos. And it's not the typical, images that we've seen of Ronnie with the band and in performance. You really dug in and brought out some personal pictures in this.
I thought the fans had seen the rock and roll pictures so many times, the band photos. I wanted to give them a glimpse into Ronnie's personal life and our personal life. So these are the photos that we dug up that haven't been seen before. So I thought that they would like to see a different view of Ronnie.
And it was so much fun too, Wendy, to where seeing the wedding pictures with you guys and seeing you with the band, it really gives a glimpse into the personal life of Ronnie and in his life with you. But I mean, so many of us just knew him from being, in Black Sabbath, in Rainbow, in Dio. These are some of the biggest heavy metal bands in history.
But he was just such a normal person at home. He'd wear his sweats and watch TV and he loved sports. So he'd always write songs watching sports and loved his animals and just didn't like to go out a lot because he was always out on the road. But when he was home, he always liked to have friends over. And we have bar that we brought in from England actually and put in the house. And we used to just hang out there with, his friends, Glenn Hughes and all the band and everything. And we just have fun.
I find that so neat, and once again, knowing him as the rock icon, and certainly people like Jack Black and J.J. French from Twisted Sister have raved on, and so many people to where, he was compared to the Pavarotti of heavy metal. And that's a big statement.
It's a big statement, yeah. But he did. He had an amazing talent for his voice. But a lot of it, I thought, of course, breathing from all the years of playing trumpet with his voice. So a breathing structure was that. But also, he just was such a human being. It's like just a fun person. He had the most fun when they were out on the road with, people like Rob Halford and Lemmy. They were all good friends. And they're just normal people when they're just by themselves and not on stage as a big persona.
I was thinking, Wendy, also that, I think Ronnie, more than anybody, has been a magnet for incredible guitarists. And it just seems like throughout his entire career, great guitarists have gravitated to him.
Or he's gravitated to them. Yes, he always thought, Richie, amazing guitar player.
Right.
Tony, the riff master, as Ronnie would always call him, and Craig and Doug Aldridge, all these different people that he played with, and great guitar players, yes.
Well, and from the book, I also learned, which I found fascinating, you brought up, that he played trumpet. And like you said, really that helps with the person's breathing. And so that Ronnie had started out as a sideman and just wasn't a front man from the beginning, I had no idea.
No, and then of course he got rid of the trumpet to teach himself bass because he could pick up girls with bass, but not with trumpet.
Why does that sound like such a musician thing? Going, which instrument do the girls like?
Right. Although this book is not sex, drugs, and rock and roll at all, it's a different
No.
story than normal rock stars will write, and it's just a human story about Ronnie's life, and
Well,
that's
and what I like about it too, Wendy, is that, Rainbow in the Dark, it really, to me, it humanizes Ronnie. And certainly, and I know from other interviews I've watched and listened to how much he always complimented you as a part of his life. And it's like, like you said, there's a persona, particularly in rock and roll and more so even in heavy metal. But it really, you showed the human side of Ronnie within this book.
we were a team. We were a team. I didn't interfere with his music. He never interfered with my business decisions, and we just worked as a team. Not to say we didn't have drop down, drop out, blowouts because we were both control freaks, but it worked.
Well, speaking of working, I wanted to bring up the charity fund, which you have continued since Ronnie passed away. And I know it seems like all of once again, the biggest names in heavy metal come out in support of these events that you do.
I'm so touched by all the wonderful musicians giving their time and their talent to me to raise money for research and education on cancer, this horrible disease that's touched so many lives, and one day we'll find a cure. But that's why we started the Ronnie James Dio Stand Up and Shout Cancer Fund. I have 14 board members, most of them are friends of Ronnie's for over the last 30 years, and every penny we're all volunteers. Every penny goes to research and education. We're sponsoring Dr. Wong at UCLA right now, who is coming up with a saliva test, which to diagnose very early pancreatic cancer and stomach cancers, so which are deadly killers, and we usually don't creep up until it's too late. Ronnie was stage 4 before we found out, so we always try to push early detection saves lives.
Well, I'll tell you what, and obviously you have the support of the full heavy metal and rock and roll community in all of these, because every show and everything you've done, when I get the press release, it's a who's who. I mean, it's like there's nobody missing, from this list. I want to bring this up too. I heard rumor, Wendy, that you might be working on a documentary as well, because going through this book, to me, it feels like a documentary. I mean, it's so immersive and so engaged and conversational, like you said, to where you can hear Ronnie's voice while you're reading it. But what's up with this documentary?
Documentary I've been working on for about 2 years now. It will come out next year, and it'll be completely different to the book. This one goes all the way through Ronnie's life, and it's interviews with lots of different megastars, as you said before, all the rock and roll people about what they thought of Ronnie and how they worked with Ronnie and how it shows lots of obviously lots of band pictures and lots of visuals, and I'm very happy with it. I'm actually going to see a screening of it next week, so we'll see what's happened. I haven't seen any of it. I've just been back and forth and digging out stuff like Super 8 stuff and things like that we found from years ago.
Wow. I can't wait to see that one. I've got to bring this up too, Wendy. Obviously, with the huge catalog, multiple bands, including Elf and everything else that Ronnie James Dio was in, do you think, in the next few years, you might have more music coming out, maybe that, the lost tapes and different things and demos and things that maybe fans and listeners have never gotten to hear? Do you think you're going to be releasing more of those things as well?
Yes, we do have plans for that, probably next year as well. We have a lot of deluxe editions coming out, re-releases of deluxe editions, and some never heard stuff before. There's a lot of stuff in the vault. I don't want to overload the market, but
I think it's incredible. I love it. I mean, because once again, as we talked about with Ronnie's voice, he just always had an incredible range, and he maintained that through his entire career, which, as you and I both know, a lot of lead singers, particularly in heavy metal and rock and roll, when they get a little bit older, they can't hit those notes, and Ronnie always could.
I think it's all in the breathing technique. I think it's all in the breathing technique.
Well, and I want to make sure, too, for our viewers, that Rainbow in the Dark is out. The book is available, wherever you buy books. I'm sure it's going to be at bookstores, online at Amazon. But I want to make sure also the viewers know where, you're going to be, going to the website. So if you're going to be in town, maybe coming to Nashville to visit, and you're doing some book signings, they can actually get this book signed by you as well, Wendy. Where should they go?
Well, absolutely. Yes, as you go to the Ronnie James Dio website, and you can see I'm actually doing a virtual signing on Wednesday the 28th. If they want to go on online there and sign up for that, I will also answer personal questions.
It was like going through your family album with you and Ronnie, but and having all the stories behind it.
Well, thank you, because that's what we wanted to do. That's exactly how I wanted to make someone feel like that they were going through Ronnie's actual life and that he was talking to them.
Well, I can't wait to hear about the new music coming out next year. Also, I want to make sure I get a front seat for the documentary. Wendy Dio, thank you so much for coming on the Rock Review. Rainbow in the Dark is now available. And I got to tell you, if you're a fan of music in general, and particularly of Ronnie, you're going to want to get a copy of this. Thank you for coming on the show, Wendy.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for your support. Thank you so much.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.